Hey guys, Trice8 here again. It should be a pretty short video today. I just got a couple things to show you here. Uh, I did get a couple things since my last video. My igniter went out for when I was out testing the 2.0 again, and so I picked up a Super Hot Shot 2 from Hobbyco. Good starter. It's the bigger one compared to because they have a smaller one and a bigger one. This is the bigger one. Works pretty well. I don't have a glow plug out to show you guys, but it works really well. Um, I also got a receiver LiPo, the LOC 2000 mAh, compared to my 1600 nickel metal that I was running, so it should be a little bit more. It's 1.4 volts more, so it's pretty good. And I think it is a little bit lighter, and it has 400 more mAh, so it should be pretty good milliamp hours. With a LiPo, though, you do have to run a flux a capacitor. You can either buy the LOCI one, or you can get that goes from the lead on the battery. You don't have to have it with a nickel metal, but it goes from the lead on the battery to the receiver. So it's just this little square that just makes sure that there's no sudden spikes of voltage that go through from the LiPo, because the LiPo is more volts, and that you don't want it to affect your receivers or your receiver or your servos, which you don't want your steering servo to go out, because that wouldn't be good, and you don't want your throttle servo to go out, because if you're full gas and it goes out, you're gonna have a runaway if your throttle return spring isn't very tough, which it's kind of difficult to get yours tough, but so yeah, that could be an issue. So yeah, but that's the same thing with your receiver. You wouldn't have steering or throttle, or brakes, so that wouldn't really work either. So I got this little flux capacitor. This is the bigger sized one. This is what I was running when I had my RC8B E when I was running 4S, and then this is what I was running in my SCTE when I had 4S and 3S. Just helps make it less glitchy and all this stuff. So with the LiPo, I mean, these aren't very expensive. These are like $10, I think. And you get like 3 of them on eBay. But I used a smaller one. It's just smaller in diameter. I think it's a little shorter. And I stuck it in the receiver box. Receiver box is pretty crammed in there, but I have a piece of foam in there, so it should keep it from getting hit too bad. The Novarossi is on its like 16th, 17th tank right now. So I went and ran it at Rev. Just practice to see how it would do. The only problem that it has is that with most new engines, when you're breaking them in, you gotta they're not real good off like when you first start them. I mean, I do have a heat gun, but I have to full rev it, like almost full trigger as soon as it starts up, because it just to get it cleared out at first, and then once that happens, it's all good. And I flipped over and at practice. They don't have very good turn marshals. It's kind of for yourself, but I think I had it idling for like 2 minutes on its when I flipped over like one of the 3-4 times or something like that. But it was idling upside down for like 2 minutes, and fine. And the guy flipped it over and just went back to driving. It was perfectly fine. Every time I gas it up, it would be good coming out of the pits, but just the initial startup, it's not real good. So otherwise it's pretty good. Yeah, it runs about 256 right now. That was with the 8mm Venturi in. I put the 6.5 in because it's completely broken in. The 8mm just gives it more air to breathe, so it's a lot easier on the break-in. It's a lot easier to keep it running because it does run hotter. So the 6.5mm Venturi will reduce the temperature, so I might be able to make it a little bit more lean. So yeah, so it should be pretty good, and all of that, and I think that's all I have to tell you guys. I am getting a radio post servo for my Truggy, which is I'm getting the red one, the high torque one for the steering, and then I'll get the green one for the throttle, and then for this, when I upgrade these to radio post servos, I'll get green and green, just because the buggy doesn't need all the torque of the servo, so it should be, or for the steering, so it should be okay. And went and tested out the FlexTune chassis and my new shocks and my 12mm or 12-degree inclined caster blocks and the EU, whatever they're called, shock towers. There we go. Because they do have more tuning options, but it ran good, ran like it used to, and got a little scratched up. Made me cry a little bit. No, not really, but yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get scratched up, but it was in good terms, and so everything was good. The clutch seemed to work pretty well. The whole car setup worked pretty well. I mean, it was pretty dry since it's practice. They don't really keep the track as moist as they would if it was racing. So all in all, I thought it was pretty good. But that's all I got for you guys right now, and I'll talk to you guys later. Might have some video up of me and my brother running at Redlands Raceway tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Peace out, guys.